How do you handle life when you feel like you're broken? Coming up next on Pastor Bob's Coffee Break. Good stuff. Great mug, black metal, black coffee. It's how I roll. One of our great mugs. And having a little Headbangers brew in that mug. I love you very much is our coffee of the season. And we'll be replacing this in the summer. But so good. Blueberries and cinnamon. And that's good stuff. That and all of our t-shirts and our mugs and our posters and all of our swag right here. We are metalearfamily.com. Hello, Pastor Bob. I wanted to thank you for your YouTube videos. I watch them when I can't sleep, and they give me comfort. I have so many people that say I watch them when I can't sleep. There you go. I have come to the point where I cannot bear the pain any longer. I've not had a good life. I experienced physical and emotional abuse in my childhood and adolescence. Quite a few years after I left home, the person I was in love with died in a car crash. I had always wanted to have my own family. All of this died when he died. Where is God in all of this? One of your videos is about whether it is simple or not to believe. I've always been a Christian, but I am not finding it easy to believe in a God who loves me. I've never felt he helped me, ever. At times I would ask him to give me peace and comfort, but he hasn't. I am trying to communicate with him, but he doesn't reciprocate, which makes me feel even more heartbroken. God isn't supposed to give you more hardship than you can handle, but he does, and it breaks you. I've become very scared of God. Can I say I fully understand this? Fully do. And some of you are listening to this question and saying, I could have written that. Yeah. Life is always difficult, it seems, doesn't it? There are some things, especially these days, that break our hearts and sometimes seem to break our spirits as well. It's difficult. What do you do in this kind of situation? You know, the Bible's full of people who went through difficult times like this. I'm reminded of the story of Joseph in the Bible, Old Testament, Genesis 37 to 50, if you want to go back and read it. But Joseph, as you know, was sold into slavery by his own brothers, spent years and years in prison in Egypt. And I'm sure when he was there, he was thinking, you know, has God forgotten about me? Why doesn't something happen year after year? Why am I sitting here in prison? Why did my brothers do this to me? I'm sure those things went through his mind. The Bible says he never lost his faith despite his circumstances. I'm sure he questioned things. I'm sure he felt frustrated. I'm sure he probably at times says, this isn't fair. But he trusted that God had a plan. Now, here's the key. Even when he couldn't see how it could possibly get any better, he trusted that God had some kind of plan. And years were going by. Well, you know the end of the story. Joseph became the most powerful leader in Egypt. He even helped his family, the ones who sold him, and restored their relationship. Powerful story, but what does that have to do with us? Everything. Because you see, sometimes life isn't fair. And I read your question and I think, yeah, I've had that. Yeah, I've had that. Yeah, I've gone through that. Many of us have. What matters the most, folks, is that we don't get stuck. That we don't take all of these things that have happened to us and bury ourselves with them. Life happens sometimes, and many times it's not easy. And many times we find ourselves being more and more broken all the time. I've walked through really difficult times with a lot of people and gone through it myself, where you feel absolutely broken. Will I ever be okay again? And then you think of things that have happened in the past and things that you've gone through and things that don't feel fair. How do you get through them? You know, one thing that I've learned over the years is the brokenness is sometimes our greatest asset, usually is, because of what it produces. I look at the people on my staff and I could go down the list of things they've gone through. Many of them would be disqualified by many churches today because of what they've gone through, because of what they've experienced. But in my mind, they've gone through the kind of brokenness that's given them an even deeper faith, which I think is true with all of us. And so we can either let our brokenness make us better and make us more productive and help us to trust even more and grow more deeply in our faith, or we can use it as a barrier between us and God and keep asking why, instead of saying, Lord, I'm going to trust you that you have a plan. That's hard to do. Yes, I know. But folks, this is where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? What do you do when you're broken? How do you react? How do you interact? And what's your focus and what's your viewpoint? You know, I know so many people that are, in their 40s, 50s, and they're still living the trauma of their childhood. They won't get over it. They identify by it. And when somebody says, well, tell us who you are, and they say, well, I'm a victim of. Well, that was 40 years ago. Yeah, I'm still a victim. No, I'm a victor, not a victim. It's one of our mugs. So perspective is really important. You say, Pastor Bob, it's easy for you to say. No, it isn't. I still go through things too. I still have those days when I don't feel like getting up in the morning. Still do. What about that? Well, it's a matter of perspective. I need to change my perspective. Those times when I'm feeling bogged down by things, those times when things from the past kind of catch up with me and I remember them and I think about them and I lament them, I need to remember, as Joseph did, God has a plan. And folks, let me tell you today, God has a plan for you. Yes, you. And he won't betray you. He won't deceive you. He has the best for you. Hold on, because what he's about to birth may come through brokenness. Folks, don't forget, you are blessed. So go and be a blessing.